Okay, today let's talk about quick reference of a fuel pump and how to do a proper fuel system analysis. And this is why we charge for what we do. Anybody can hook up a fuel pressure gauge, which if you've been in this industry long enough, you've hooked up a fuel pressure gauge and seen that there's plenty of pressure, but there's no volume. And if you don't have volume, you got a problem with the car going up hills under a load and things like that. So there are gauges out there that of course do have a volume button where you can check the volume. You can put it in a bottle and measure it and hope you don't spill it on the floor. Somebody lights a cigarette or a match and blows you up, right? Um, the quickest, easiest way to do this, honestly, is to amp ramp your fuel system. And we're going to talk later about this as well. We're not only talking about amp ramp and fuel systems, but we want to show you how to amp ramp injectors and get down where you understand really how to do a proper diagnosis, saving yourself time, but still charging the customer for what needs to be charged because they're paying for this diagnostics. But this diagnostics is going to be in depth. This isn't, again, like I said already, hooking up a fuel pressure gauge. So let's talk about that. Well, what's the first thing that we want to do? At that time, we need to get us, of course, a lab scope. And everything you buy today has a lab scope in it, has the lab scope capabilities. So get a lab scope, and I'll do a class here in a little bit on lab scopes if you guys and gals are needing something like that. But what we're going to do is we're going to find that fuel system fuse, or we're just going to tap into it anywhere that we can get to one of the wires, because with our lab scope and a low amps probe, we can set that up and we can look and see exactly what we've got going. So when we do, we want to set our lab scope at a 2 amp scale with a 10 millisecond scale. That's going to get you real close on what we need to see. So with that being said, once we have that all set up, now we can see exactly what's going on, because as we do that, we're going to look at this. And as you see right here, we've got 10 to 13 PSI. It's going to run you about 2 to 4 amps. You'll see things out there that say it's about an amp per 10 PSI. It is and it isn't. You can get into the actual calculations of it and all that. But the biggest thing that I want you to understand is that if you hook this up every day or 2 times a week, it's not going to take you long to know what a good pattern looks like and what a bad pattern looks like. So left a little bit here on some RPM, timesing it out, looking at the hertz and all that to figure out how fast that pump is spinning. Now remember, when we've got a fuel pump, we've got these commentators are sitting here. We've got 2 brushes on top. So this is spinning. And this is what we're going to be looking at, what's taking place inside that fuel system. So here's a good amp ramp. If you look on the left side here, we're looking at this and you can see it's nice, and they're a little bit different and all that, but they're close comparatively to the one on the bad amp ramp on the right-hand side there, as you see. So right away, you can tell, whoa, hang on, something's not quite right. Here's another one. This was from way back when I'd pulled out of my archives of stuff. This was in 1994. It's been a while since any of us worked on any of that, right? But I've been training for 20, 30 years, so you're going to be seeing some of this stuff, because the great thing about what we do in this industry is it doesn't change much when it comes to electrical. So there we see a good amp and a bad amp. Now, keep in mind, if we see our amp ramp is higher, then we could have a restriction. If our amp ramp is lower, we can have a pump that's wearing out. The bottom line is, I just want you to get to understand what these ramps should be looking like. Here's another one. Here's a good amp ramp. See the other one here on the right, a bad amp ramp. Again, by hooking up and looking at that all the time, you're going to be able to see this. One of the favorite things that I've had in the past, and I haven't done it for a number of years, I'd love to take that old fuel pump and cut it apart and look inside and see exactly what's happened to it. Because then you can look in and you can see what's happened to the copper. You can see what's happened to the brushes. And to me, it's just that more in depth. I'm still that person from Missouri, I guess, that show me state, where I want to see exactly what's taking place and what's happening inside. So that's just something I've done, and you might want to do that yourself. So here's another one. See what we've got here? We've got our one on the left and we've got our one on the right with the spikes and all of that. We've got some issues going on. So as you see, once you tie into that system and you set your lab scope up to look at it, it's only going to take you a couple minutes, and you're going to know more about that fuel system than anybody else that's going out and hooking up a fuel pressure gauge. So to finish off there, just glad to be of help. remember us at mechanicalliance.com and hashtag mechanics for better wages. And join our group. We have a group on Facebook now, Mechanic Alliance, and this is where a lot of you're probably already seeing this here, is because this is where we're going to be doing all of our training stuff, which then we will be putting on our website as well. So thanks for joining us and have a great day.